Hi, so my name is Alex Mitchell from York Trials Unit in the Department of Health Sciences, and I'm here today to tell you why young offenders need our help. So young adults who commit low-level offences actually have a range of health and social needs, and what this does is it makes them particularly vulnerable to mental health problems. In addition, in terms of the criminal justice system, these young adults comprise approximately 1/3 of police, probation and prison caseloads. Now, at the moment, what happens when a young person has committed an offence and they're being charged in the police station is that they could either be given a caution that involves like a financial fine or maybe some other conditions attached to it, or they could even be given a court summons and end up going to prison, which clearly isn't a good outcome for these young people. So rather than letting that happen, can we do something different to help these young people? So Hampshire Constabulary down south in the country tried to answer that question. So they developed something called the Gateway intervention, which was more of a holistic intervention. Sorry, I've realised that's been slide away from me. So this consisted of a needs assessment, which looked at how the young person's needs in terms of their housing, mental health services, and the young person was also required to attend 2 group workshops focused on developing empathy for the victims of their crimes and with the hopes of preventing future reoffending. Now, it's all well and good developing an intervention, but it needs to be assessed to see whether it actually works or not. And this is where York Trials Unit came in by carrying out a randomised control trial. So first of all, participants need to be recruited to the trial and randomised to receive either the Gateway intervention or usual care, which consists of court summons or a different kind of caution. Then participants are asked to return follow-up data on their mental well-being at 4 weeks, 16 weeks and 1 year post-randomisation. And then we look to compare between the Gateway intervention group and the usual process group their mental well-being. So RCTs, randomised control trials, are challenging to recruit and follow up to in any population, but this was a particularly challenging population. So I give here some examples and the attempted solutions. So first of all, police officers aren't used to recruiting to research studies, and they work in a high pressure environment. And naturally this meant that some eligible participants were missed. So what we did was, when an eligible participant wasn't recruited, we followed up with the police officer with a phone call to try and work out what went wrong and how we could help in the future. In terms of follow-up, the police officer needed to obtain a mobile phone number of the young person so that the researchers could contact them to ask about their mental well-being. And then obviously the participants have a bit of a distrust of the police and would give an incorrect mobile phone number, which made contact very difficult. So what we did in that scenario was we attempted to contact participants via email for their follow-up in the hopes they'd give a correct email address, and also offered up to £100 of vouchers for providing follow-up data. So what happened next? So recruitment strategies did lead to an improvement in recruitment, albeit still slower than we expected. However, the major issue was our retention rates, which remained low, just under 50% returning data at week 4 and week 16, and under a quarter at 1 year. As a result, we realised the research question could not be answered, and we unfortunately had to close the study early. And keep in mind, this was despite the offer of up to £100 worth of vouchers for returning follow-up data in this quite disadvantaged population. So what needs to be done? So recruitment and retention, challenging in any RCT. We have a lot of strategies at York Trials Unit that tend to work, but this was a particularly challenging population, but still high quality evidence is needed on effective interventions for these young people. And research needs to be done on how to engage them better in research and whether alternative study designs can be used. Thank you very much for listening to my talk.